Hi, I'm Ilene Carol, host of Unseen to Unstoppable. On this episode, our guest is Erin Duvall. Erin Duvall is a Texas born singer songwriter known for her raspy powerhouse vocals that blend roadhouse blues, gospel, and country with a sultry edge. After taking a break to raise her four children, Erin returned to music with renewed energy, releasing her latest album, One by One, which showcases her soulful storytelling and artistic growth. Beyond her music, Erin is a devoted mother, entrepreneur, and philanthropist, founding the Twice the Love Foundation to support single parents and families, and creating Auntie E, an animated character inspiring children to explore the world of music. Erin, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited too. It's been a long time coming. I see that you were Texas born. Now, are you in Texas now?
I am. I'm in Dallas, Texas, which is where I was born and raised. And then I left for about 15 years. Lived a lot of different places from London to New York to LA to Colorado, Austin for a long time, and then moved back home about 8.5 years ago. And
That
it's
was
a
going to be my next
perfect little
question. I was going to
spot.
ask you. I was going to ask you, have you always lived in Texas? But apparently you haven't. What was the
No.
London trip? What was the London trip?
So I went to the University of Texas, go Longhorns, hook 'em, and I studied abroad in London for an entire semester with a focus on photojournalism. So I graduated from the communications department at Texas with a focus in journalism, hence why I love to write. And I wanted to do a photojournalism kind of minor per se. And so I went over to London and lived over in Kensington at a wonderful school there that was like a partner school with the University of Texas and did an entire semester there. Turned 21 over there. It was so fun. And I just love London. It's my favorite city in the world.
Is it awesome? I've been there. I love it too, except, of course, it rains.
Yeah, that part I ruined a lot of pants. In my early 20s, back when, well, now the wide leg jeans are back again, but that was the era of the wide leg jeans. And I'm gonna tell you, I definitely dragged some pants along those wet cobblestones in London and really ruined them.
And I'm like a cat, when it's like a wet cat. Like I just don't want to be out in the rain.
Yeah.
And so that whole experience for me, I was like, oh my goodness, but aside from that, I really did. I loved it as well. And I'm glad that you got to travel outside of where you were born. So many people don't have that experience. So good for you.
Thank you. Yes, I've been very fortunate to get to see some parts of the world. Of course, there's so much to see and so much more that I would like to see. But I love London a lot, and I love the British culture. I love the British people. I think they're so funny. They've got a
I
great sense
do
of humor.
too. I do too. And some people don't understand that, but the whole American British thing, but I do. I completely relate.
It's very cheeky, it's just funny. I love it. They're
Right.
just kind of a little sarcastic side to them, and I'm a very sarcastic side to myself, so I guess I understand it.
Well, maybe that's why. Maybe you have similar personalities. So let me
Yeah.
ask, even though you've moved around and everything, has your upbringing in Texas influenced your unique sound?
Absolutely. Gosh, yeah. So I grew up, I will tell you, I'm the fourth of five kids. I had two sisters and two brothers. I'm the baby daughter. So there's that. But I grew up on Texas country music. I mean, if we didn't have George Strait playing in our house, I really almost didn't even know what to do. But at the same time, I also was really big into musical theater. So there was this beautiful blend that happened: the roadhousey blues, the true Texas, songwriters. I mean, obviously George doesn't write his material, but you have those artists that weighed very heavily in my life. But then at the same time, I was also really, really influenced by Tracy Chapman and Linda Ronstadt and Dolly Parton. So it was all these different sounds kind of coming together that make me who I am.
That's interesting. It's like you've named some different people there. And I guess that's what, even though your sound is unique, but I guess those influences also is why your music has different tones of this and that. It's strictly country.
Absolutely.
But yes,
Yeah,
that's
I mean
amazing.
it's
So
country
now
to its
what
core and it's country to the fact of the songwriting aspect, right? But then you can hear the
right.
other elements that have influenced me over time kind of, they seep into the sound.
Now going back to your debut album, Out of Focus, and your latest release, One by One, how has your music evolved between those two projects?
Well, I think specifically, I evolved so much as a person. So my
Mhm.
songwriting evolved so much, and the stories that I had to tell. I will say when I did Out of Focus, it was a really great album. I enjoyed the process. I worked with a wonderful guy named Rob Giles. I had actually grown up with him. He's also from Dallas, but he's been in LA forever, and he was a part of a band called The Rescues, and wonderful songwriter, has been on a bunch of songwriting teams for Grey's Anatomy and all of those TV shows.
Mhm.
But we had a great time, and I actually recorded in LA with Alanis Morissette's band, and it was a wonderful experience. But I was really young at the time, so I think what I had to say at that moment in my life was really different from what I had to say in One by One. So with One by One, I was a mom to four kids. I had also gone through a pretty hard divorce, and was evolving very much so as a person and within my own experiences. And I think that that album really shows that. Um, and that was a great project. I worked with the Baker Brothers. They're here out of Dallas. One of them has been the lead drummer for Kirk Franklin for over 25 years. They are fabulously talented and still great dear friends of mine, and we do a lot of work together still to this day. But it was great being in the studio with them. It was a very cathartic process, and they said they could sit there and watch me in the studio and be like, wow, we are literally watching her heal as she is writing these songs. And they're just so different because of where I was in my life. And I think even moving forward with whatever I do next and the things that I'm currently working on right now, they've even evolved as well, just because I'm moving forward as a person. And I think that's what we're all supposed to do in life. I truly believe that if you are stagnant, that you need to move rooms. You need to shake it up and constantly be learning and evolving as a person.
I agree with that. I mean, a lot of women that we've interviewed on this podcast, they've all said something similar. So I feel like we're all on that same path of growth. Maybe different reasons, different ways of doing it, but we're all trying to grow, evolve, and do better. Was
Right.
it your music that helped you heal through that difficult time you were going through?
Absolutely. My music, my children, my family, and my close friends. But the music connection for me, the songwriting is really, really personal. So it was a way
Okay.
for me to, bleed out with ink
Mm,
and do it in a healthy way and really put my emotions onto a page, and releasing those emotions in the right way.
right.
And yeah, and I still, I write every day. Some of it I'm like, whoa, that's trash, but some of it is poignant, and it's stuff that you keep, and even if you don't ever turn it into a song, it's there as a snapshot in time of where you've been and where you're going.
I think the writing, whether you can turn it into a song, now who am I, my pea brain, but I'm just saying my 2 cents. But I think you're writing it is a process of healing, because I know for myself,
Absolutely.
if I just write something down, I can move away from it. It's not holding on to me. It's not hovering over me. I've released it.
Well, and even in such simple forms of like to-do list, right? Like once you write it out, then it's there to remind you, and it's not taxing your brain constantly to remember it. So even more so with emotional things, to write it out really kind of releases that weight that lives within your brain that's constantly, hey, are you there? And
Right.
so I find it very cathartic to release all of that out on a
Right,
paper.
right. Now you have worked, like you mentioned before, with some industry legends. And here in your bio, you've got Keith Thomas and Billy Henry. What is it like to collaborate with people like that, and what have you learned from them?
Oh my gosh, I've learned so much from them. So Billy Henry, still a dear friend of mine. He came on. I was the sweet little baby age of 22 years old. I know we'll touch on my animated project later, but when I first started my animated project, I was 22. And Billy Henry's out of Austin, and he does a ton of stuff with the Chicks, and just such an incredibly talented musician and just a wonderful human being. And he just saw this sweet, raw, um, very vulnerable 22-year-old that had a big idea and helped me, you know, get into a studio, helped me to feel comfortable. And I mean, I've never been in many places where I feel very uncomfortable. So it wasn't like that per se, but it was just getting me to learning the terminology and wrapping my head around it and understanding, how to hang with the big wigs, perhaps, right? And he was just so wonderful, and we're still friends to this day. And then it's given me the opportunity so to get to work with people like him, and then also the Baker brothers. It gives me this building blocks per se to get to be in a room with somebody like a Keith Thomas. I mean, Keith Thomas is legendary. He discovered Katy Perry, and he's worked with Mandy Moore and Amy Grant and Heather Headley and Tanya Tucker. And I mean, I could go on and on. I mean, he wrote Colors of the Wind for Pocahontas and produced it. And he's so insanely talented. And I truly just feel honored to even get to sit in a room with him and call him friend. And we've got to work on some projects together, and we've got some other stuff that we're kicking around right now. And I've just learned so much. And it's good to get to go into rooms like that and to learn and to also continue to help to evolve as a person, but also as a musician and a songwriter. And having those opportunities to be around that talent gives you the ability to do that.
I saw that on your bio that he wrote Colors of the Wind, and I was like, oh my God, I love that song.
I mean, he's the most humble man. I was actually with him not long ago, like literally a week ago. He's the most humble man in the entire world. I don't have enough nice. I mean, it's like I could say so many nice things about him, and it would take all afternoon because he is just the loveliest, sweetest man in the world. And he's so humble. It's like we were laughing. He won a Dove Award. And he was like, oh, I did? Oh, I didn't even know that. I mean, he's so involved in the work that he doesn't get too caught up in the accolades that come with it. But of course he gets them because he's so immensely talented. But he's just the most humble, sweetest, hardworking, driven guy I know. So he's been fun to be around.
That's nice when you can work with someone like that. Sitting here listening to you brought back a memory of me listening to Pink talk about Chris Stapleton.
Oh yeah,
She was like, dude, like, just, you
he's
know,
unreal.
because he just was so humble. She was like, oh my God.
Yeah, and he tours. His wife is insanely talented too. They tour together. They've got five
Right,
kids. I
right.
mean, their story's so interesting. I mean, I could listen to the guy sing the phone book and I'd be happy.
I know. I love him. I love him. I love country music. It's funny if I could bring race in a little bit. Some people they put race on different genres of music, and I'm not supposed to like country music, but I love country music. And so it was kind of funny to me when Beyonce put out her album. Then people were like trying to, um, move towards that or whatever. It's funny how
Right.
we can't make our own minds up. But anyway, I've always been a fan of country music, and Chris Stapleton is a fan of mine. I love his music. So like you, I could listen to him sing the phone book, just like you said.
Yeah,
And
he's fabulous.
he is, and I think he was on 60 Minutes, and they were talking about his guitar playing, and he some kind of way he phrased it. I don't want to misquote, but something about how he really doesn't play. He just kind of does something, whatever. Like I think the term stylist or whatever, something came out of the interview, and I was like, "Well, style on," because I mean that song. What is the
It's just what
one?
he feels. It's like he's, like I say, bleeding through a pen on a page, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you bleed at the strokes. Like he's just basically bleeding through his fingers with his music on the strings, right? And that's just how he feels it and how it comes out. He's just, oh, he's insane. He's so
He
good.
is insane. I the song, what is it? I Was Wrong. That's what I was alluding to with the guitar. That is amazing.
Hmm.
But anyhow. So listen, so I was saddened by something you said, and we won't talk about it in this interview, but your struggles of what you went through, and you were left being a single mother of four. Um, how do you balance the demands of your music, your career, entrepreneurship, family life? How do you balance all that? What are the things that you went through, challenges, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah. So, I mean, nobody gets married thinking they're going to get divorced. I will touch on it lightly. I don't think that's anything ever, but anybody ever goes into a marriage going, oh, well, one day we might. So it is a very hard thing, obviously. It was a hard time. It was the right thing. And it has brought me to where I am in my life now because of the experiences that I went through and the hardships I faced. Um, and it's in turn made me a better person. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of put the big girl pants on and get to work. But I've always been a very strong-minded female woman, and my friends heard me say that. They'd be like, "Oh Lord, yes," laugh. But
Hey,
I
hey, wait,
just,
hey, wait a minute. Look. Is it the hair?
yeah, it's that fiery red hair and that fiery red Southern attitude.
I saw you.
But
I was like, she has amazing hair. Does anyone in your
thank you.
family have the same color hair?
Yeah, so my mom's a redhead, my sister's a redhead, and then both of my sons are redheads.
I mean, I didn't mean to get off
Um,
topic, but I mean, I did want
no,
to ask
no,
you
it's
about your hair.
fine.
So look, how is it when all of you all in the room together?
Uh, it's a lot of. So my immediate family is 27 people.
Wow. But
So
I
a
mean
lot
the
of
red. I mean the redheads. Like
I was gonna say, but just in general, is a lot of energy. But
Uh
yes,
huh.
the redheads, there's a lot of fire in there.
Right.
Just in
Right.
my own house, there's three of us, so it's the redheads. We're just our own special breed,
That's
and
all. You are special. You are
we
special.
are. We're special. We're very special. But to touch back to what you're saying, hour by hour, day by day,
Mm-hmm.
it's really. I tell my kids this all the time. It's waking up and choosing to put the best foot forward and focusing on the positive and allowing those positive thoughts to win. I think I read something. It was some movie, and I'm blanking on which one it is. Tim McGraw's in it, but it talks about how there's the everybody within them has a bad wolf and a good wolf, and the
Mm-hmm.
one that
Mm-hmm.
wins is the one that you feed.
Right.
And I love that so much because I think I was just telling my son this story the other day, but I think it's so true. It's whichever one you feed is the one that's going to win. And so for
Right.
me, it's feeding that good wolf every single day, um, taking steps forward every day with the kids that whatever it is that they need to focus on at that amount of time. So I'm gonna put the good energy here. Okay, now I get to focus a little bit on work, so I'm gonna go here with that good energy, and now I'm gonna focus on myself and get a little bit. And it's just taking those incremental steps forward every single day. And then when you get down the road, you realize, oh wow, I have gone kind of far. But if you look at it like major big picture and you're like, but I got to be there tomorrow. Well, that's going to get really overwhelming. So it's just taking it day by day and
Mm-hmm.
inching forward every single day to do something better.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you look back and you're like, wow, okay, I am making movement, and then you're happy about that.
I'm glad that you're feeding the good wolf. I wish everyone fed the good wolf. a fellow colleague of yours, I guess I should say it that way. I'm not sure if that's the correct way to say it, that I interviewed. She was talking about the same thing. She was like, she has her creative things that she does and she puts her energy into that and she feels like more people would be happier. It's kind of the same concept. They would be happier if they took that energy
Yeah.
and put it into a project or something. So yeah.
Well,
So
I mean, I believe very much so that like idle hands are the devil's work. Um, I think if you don't have enough to do, it's real easy to start comparing yourself to others and what somebody else is doing and getting caught up in the stuff that really doesn't matter.
right,
Um,
right.
and even like in your own communities, everybody has this, right? With kids and, oh, well, what's so and so doing with this and this? And I just find if I just focus on the things that are really important in my life, which is first and foremost my family and my
Mm-hmm.
children, and then my extended family, and then my work, um, and my friends, like the rest of it, the small stuff kind of slips away, and the gossipy kind of stuff that really takes up a lot of your time but is not necessary. You just don't have time for it. And so you end up being a little bit happier because you're not being drawn into things that at the end of the day are not very important.
Exactly. Now, in your bio, speaking of your family, your children, you
Sure.
mentioned leaving a legacy. What does that look like? What do you hope to, you know, leave back? Like, how do you hope to inspire them?
Well, I'm a big believer in paying it forward. And I know we'll talk about my foundation in a little bit, but paying it forward, doing good, um, taking, if you have a platform where you have a voice and a space for people to listen, then spreading joy and spreading the good. So that's a huge part of my legacy, is making sure that my kids know that I'm a positive force in the world, because I think that there's enough going on out there in the world right now that is hard and challenging and negative. So, one, first and foremost, being a positive force. And then, secondly, um, I just have so many aspirations and so many goals for myself and also for my kids, that I want them to see that hard work does pay off.
Right.
And so leaving behind that legacy that, yeah, maybe it doesn't come super easy, but if you put your
Hmm.
head down and you grind and you really work for it and you believe in what it is that you're going after, it's going to work out.
Right.
And so teaching them that. And my parents have been really good about that. My dad has been in the same industry for, decades and decades and decades. And when my parents got married, we always joke they had two bar stools and a stereo. Um,
Right.
and they've really worked hard, and they're strong Christian people, and they've taught us to pay it forward. And they're really the reason I started my foundation, is because they've done so much charitable work. I mean, my mom started a fabulous organization a luncheon that has been going for 42 years, that raises money for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. She also started a luncheon that raises money for the Dallas homeless. My dad does a gigantic golf tournament every year that keeps the lights on at a women's shelter that I actually raise money for as well. So I've had these examples of paying it forward,
Hmm.
and then in turn, it's obviously inspired me to do that as well. And I think that's important, to hopefully one day my kids will do something as well to continue to pay it forward. That that inspires them.
Right. But you know what? I'm gonna put this out in the universe. They will, because as a parent, the best thing you can teach your child is to be a good example. And you are.
Right. Thank you.
You
I
are.
appreciate that.
Because it's trickled down. Your parents were a good example, and then look at you.
Well, it's sweet too, because like this year, my foundation did a toy drive, which we hadn't done before, and we benefit this fabulous shelter here in town called the Genesis Women's Shelter, and it's for battered women and children. And the toy drive was my kids' idea,
See?
and they were like, "Mom, can your foundation do a toy drive? Like, we'll invite all of our friends, and it'll be great, and we'll get to do make cookies and do all this and make art projects and take them down there." I mean, we took so many toys down to the shelter, and it was so special to them. And in turn was so special to all the kids at the shelter, but it was 100% created by my four children, which
See,
was
Erin?
really, really
See?
neat.
See, Erin, that's what I'm saying. So see, they are. You've done your job. Look at you.
Thank you.
Let's
Got
clap.
a
Let's
few more
clap.
years to go.
We're gonna clap.
Thank you. I'm like, call me when my twins are 18, then maybe I'll
Oh
take a
my
breath,
God!
you
Wait a
know.
minute. Wait a minute. You have twins? I love
I
twins. Are they
do.
identical? What? Tell me what your twins.
No, they're fraternal.
Uh-huh.
They are turning 8 in March,
Uh-huh.
and I'm laughing. They're home today. They're a little tired because we had gone. Yes, I'm playing. They're playing hooky today. Their allergies are bothering them. School, I love you. School comes first. I know everybody, but they haven't missed a whole lot. So if anybody's listening, I do prioritize school. We love it very, very much. But we went to Kelsey Ballerini last night for their first concert ever,
Mm-hmm.
and they're a little tired today. So
Yeah, is it girls, boys, boy, girl?
they're girls. They're girls.
Okay.
Twin
Okay.
girls named Mila and Waverly,
Are they
and
mischievous?
incredibly so. Yes, absolutely.
That's what I love about twins.
Oh, it's funny. Like when I had twins, people always said, "Do they have their own language?" And I was like, well, before I had them, people kept asking me, "Do you think they will?" And I was like, I don't know." And I kid you not, when they were little, they'd be like 9 months old, or like maybe right at a year, where they're finally kind of standing up in the crib, and they'd be bouncing back and forth in separate cribs, and they'd be like, "Ticka ticka ticka," and the other one would be like, "Bah, bah, 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 bah," and then they go, and they just start laughing. And I was like, what was that? And I mean, they really do. They've always kind of had their own like understood language, and
Mhm.
they're so funny. They're so
Mhm.
different though.
Mhm.
But they get along beautifully, which is great. I'm not saying they don't fight, because what,
Right. Right, of
7 year
course.
olds
That's
don't fight.
natural. That's natural.
But then my boys are 15 months apart. So my boys are 11 and 12.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I got the middle school preteen angsty boyhood going on over there, and then these little almost 8 year old, tweeny boppers.
Mhm. Mhm. I wanted to have twins. I love twins so much. I was like, I hope I have twins. I hope I have twins. I didn't have twins, but anyway, I know moms are.
Having them on the third round was like oh wow, this is happening.
Oh my goodness, that is too funny.
It's a to go from 2 to 4 kids in a matter of like minutes
I
is
know, I know. It's like a whole, you have your whole thing when you have twins like that. Oh my goodness. But it's a
it's an
beautiful,
adjustment.
it is an adjustment, but it's a
Their
beautiful
first
thing.
5 years was a little bit of a blur, but like a good blur, but it was
Mhm,
just a
mhm.
lot of little kids, because
Wow.
4 and 4.5 years is a lot of kids.
A lot of kids, a lot of kids. So I want to talk about your foundation, Twice the Love. Tell me about that, like the thought of it. Like, how did you think it up? What made you start it? The process. Where it is now.
So when I moved home and I was going through my divorce, I was really fortunate to have a loving place to land. I lived back with my family for a little bit, just till I could get back on my feet. And I, luckily, being in Dallas, I'm less than a mile away from my parents. I'm like a quarter of a mile from my sister and my brother. The other two siblings don't live here, but our family is very close, and I had that family support to fall back on. And as I was going through my divorce, I just kept saying to myself, what would I do if I didn't have this love to get me through this tough time? And so it weighed so heavily on my heart, and I prayed and I prayed and I prayed. And I was like, I really need to start something that benefits single parents, both men and women alike. And we help with the financial, the social, and the emotional side of being a single parent, because being a single parent is a
Mm-hmm,
beautiful
mm-hmm.
thing, but it's heavy.
Right,
You do
right,
twice the work, and you
right.
also give twice the love, but you're lucky because you get twice the love back as well.
Mm-hmm,
So we started this foundation, and we're really more of a funnel through foundation. So we put on events to donate to really well established brick and mortar companies, nonprofits that are on the ground, that I know that when I hand them our donations, I know exactly what they're doing with the money.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that so much. So we partner here in town, like I was saying earlier, with Genesis Women's Shelter. It's for battered women and children. Those women become single parents by default, um, going through their obviously incredibly tough time. And I just love the work that they do and the support that they give these moms and these children. And we are moving on to year 3 of donating with them, and they're wonderful. And in time, we'd like to expand to other cities and give to other brick and mortars as well. But Dallas is home base, and we just love Genesis so much. And we're already year 3 event is November of 2025, and we're in the middle of locking in our talent and venues and all the things. So, and we're looking at doing a Mother's Day, little small Mother's Day event as well.
That is amazing. There's a similar foundation here where I live, and when I met with the director, I mean, I never thought about that. So many things you just don't think about. Single parents and what they might need and what they might go through and things like that. I mean, you go through it, but then you don't think about. I guess you don't think about it on a grander scale.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny because I think I always get phone calls like, a friend will call me and they got 2 kids or something. They're like, "Oh, this is the hardest week ever. My husband's out of town," and I'm like, "Wrong, wrong, wrong, wrong person to call."
Right, right, because you
I'm
do it
like,
all the time.
yeah, I'm like, 4 kids every night, it's me. And so I'm like, I feel you, girl. Yeah, it's tough, but it's my kids, we're in a really great rhythm. We work as a unit. We all help each other out, and very accustomed to the single parent lifestyle now.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a major adjustment, and there are still times that are really hard and lonely. Like I always say, you're never alone, but you could always be lonely, so it's
Right, right.
um there's a lot of things that go into being a single parent, and that's why for me my work is so important, because it fuels who I am as a person. And I don't feel pigeonholed to just being that. And so I think as a single parent, it's really important to have your own identity as well.
No, it is. It is. It absolutely. Tell me about Auntie E. That sounds interesting. Who like did somebody
So Auntie
draw
E,
her?
yeah. So Auntie E's been with me a really long time. She's kind of my baby. Everybody laughs. They're like, "Erin, you gotta let her fly," and I'm like, "No, no, I'm just gonna hold her right here." But so Auntie E, I'm the 4th of 5 kids. I became an aunt at a really, really young age. I was always the musician aunt, so I was the cool aunt that always taught kids about music. And I loved that so much. And I realized that there wasn't a great animated series that teaches children about the love of music. And
Mhm.
so I can't tell you too much about it because we've just revamped it, and I wrote
Oh,
3 books
okay.
and
Well, look, look,
10
look, look.
songs, and we've done some new music, and there's all these things that are going on, but it's still a little tight-lipped, but stay tuned. So go auntieofficial.com.
Perfect.
And you can subscribe to stay up to date with the world of Harmony Hills, which is where Auntie E lives. And we have some really exciting stuff coming up with Auntie E, and she's precious and animated, and there's 20 characters and a whole world of fun that is just around the corner for all of y'all.
Perfect. Thank you for letting everyone know where we can go to keep tabs on that.
Absolutely.
I'm laughing at myself. Of course, we don't have video on, so you can't see. I When we were waiting to start the video, I said to you, Auntie E, and for some
Oh,
reason, but look, look, look. I must have channeled your energy because I said, "Tell me about Auntie E."
well, we always say too, because like I say Auntie E, but then if you go 15 minutes one direction of my house, someone else is going to say Auntie E. So it's really wherever you're from. Both are right. I say Auntie E because that's like I'm Aunt Erin, right? And my sister's Aunt Molly, and but you may have a family that says Aunt Erin. And so there's no wrong way.
Right.
But I say Auntie.
No, I just thought that was funny on my end. I was like, why did I say that? But then you started saying, I said, must be channeling her energy because she said Aunt. Okay, so I wanted to ask you something. I don't want to. That's my last question. I don't want to get to that just yet. So this podcast, Unseen to Unstoppable, is for other women, for women to inspire, to upbuild. So, what advice would you give other women looking to embrace their three faces, whether it's career, motherhood, entrepreneurship? Because the three faces be different for each woman. But what advice would you give to them?
Oh gosh, I would say that if you're the smartest person in the room, you need to move rooms. I think that's super important because you always need to be challenged. And like I was saying earlier, if you're stagnant, you're not being challenged, and therefore you're not evolving. So I think that's super important. Don't be the smartest person in the room. Secondly, persistence. You better believe you're going to have some really, really not so great days, and you got to still get up and be persistent and hopeful and work really hard. And
It's
then and the last would be don't sweat the small stuff.
Don't sweat the small stuff. I want to go back to your smartest person in the room. I don't. I guess there's so many things I maybe I just don't think about them. I just go through life, and that's what I do. My parents are a lot older. They were the when somebody interviewed me, they said I patted myself after my dad because the person was talking about generations and personalities and how they're affected or whatever. And she asked me, she said, "What year was your dad born in?" And I said, "He was born in 1933." She said, "That's why you the way you are." She said, "That was the silent generation." And I said, "What's
Uh,
that?"
be seen but not heard generation.
But they just kind of did what needed to be done. They didn't pick it. They didn't
Hmm.
complain. Whatever needed to be done, they just did it.
Right.
They just did it. But what's interesting is the first thing you said about being, you don't want to be the smartest person in the room because you won't learn anything. I recently interviewed Nigel Barker. He said the same thing.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he did. And I was like, yes, because that makes so much sense.
Well, and also like you have to be uncomfortable. I mean, change is not it's not an easy thing, right? So you have to put yourselves in places where you're a little bit uncomfortable to learn how to evolve into that next version of yourself that you need to be. And if it's always easy, you're complacent.
Right.
You should always be learning, always, even if it's something small. And if you're not, well then, I mean, and maybe for some people they want to stay where they are. But if you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to do something great and you want to do something where you're continually building upon itself, then you got to evolve and you got to change and you got to be uncomfortable. So go into that room where you're like, wow, these people are really smart. So I'm going to listen.
That's right. You're gonna be quiet.
I'm
Be
gonna
quiet.
listen. Because honestly, there's some things that I do in my own business, like I mean, starting a foundation, right? So
Hmm.
that was a major learning curve when it comes to the nonprofit world, and there's a lot of verbiage that goes with that I had to study to understand, and I'm still constantly learning new things every single day in that world. And then same thing even with animation. There's a whole different world over there. I mean, we can't know everything. We weren't just born knowing everything. So I think it's important to just be open to learning new things. And I love going into rooms where I'm like, whew, okay,
Right.
wow, this is intriguing.
It is.
Um, and then just shut your mouth and listen and see what
And
you can learn.
listen. And listen. I don't know how many people think about the fact that their brain needs to be exercised.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree with you. I don't think people, I think that's become a bigger topic in the most recent years. There's a lot out there about brain health, and Doc Amen talks a ton about brain health and making sure you're continually reading and exercising your brain, and how the brain is the one organ in the body that we don't actually scan when there's a problem,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is so fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Doc Amen does a bunch of scanning, so he actually goes in and scans the brain, but he's kind of one of the few that actually does that. And I find that so fascinating because if there's a problem with your heart, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to, run an echo, and then they're going to run a stress test, and then maybe an MRI or something along those lines. But when you're like, well, I got some stuff going on with my brain, well, they don't even like, they're like, well, try this. Let's see if that works. Oh, no, well, now try this. So I think brain health is becoming a very, very important topic, which is awesome. But they do say even for people like to avoid or to delay if you have some form of Alzheimer's or whatever that you don't know,
Mm-hmm.
that even reading continually and constantly learning new things helps keep your brain sharp and could possibly
Right.
delay if that's the inevitable, for you. So, um, and again, I know like a tiny little percentage, but I'm so fascinated by all of it. But yes, I think exercising your brain is so important.
It is. It really is. We've touched on this when we talked about Auntie E, but what's next for you? What can the fans expect? New music projects? Any surprises soon?
Yeah, I again kind of can't say too much about it, but I can tell y'all that there's some new music coming out, and I'm really, really excited about um, the sound and where it's going and who I'm getting to work with, and it's going to be really, really fun. And then obviously with Auntie E, there's a lot going on there, so stay tuned. That's very exciting. There's a lot of focus on the world of Auntie E right now in my personal world. And then and then the foundation keeps me super busy. And then on top of that, I've got two middle school boys, and we got football going on and lacrosse,
All
and
right, football.
girls that take dance and cheer and soccer. And so I mean, just today I think I've got 4 or 5 practices and games. So the busy world of Erin Duvall is every day is a bright future, and as long as I get enough sleep to keep up with it, then we keep putting that step forward every day.
That's important. Don't neglect your sleep now. Get your sleep. That's important.
No, sleep's my friend. The older
Yes.
I get, the more I say no to other things to prioritize my sleep.
Right. Good for you. Good for you. We know
Well,
we can
I'm
go.
not good for anybody if I don't sleep.
Well, no, but I mean that's the thing. I mean that's part of us, the brain as well. Because the
Oh,
brain,
absolutely.
needs for you to get your rest too. So that's important that you prioritize that because there's a time in my life. Well, I couldn't help it. I was taking care of my mom and everything, and I was
Sure.
barely getting any sleep or whatever. But then I had to adjust because your brain just goes to mush, and you wonder why you're
Yeah, and you start
confused.
not making good decisions, and
Right.
then you may be quicker on responses than you should be, and just things obviously start to happen. So yes, I definitely try and prior. I'm not saying I'm perfect at it, but I definitely try and
Well,
prioritize my
nobody, no,
sleep.
no one's perfect at anything, but we can all try. So that's
That
all we
is
can
true.
do.
Amen to that.
We can all try. So listen, I know that we can go to AUNTYE official.com. Correct.
Correct.
Where
Yes.
are the other places we can go to connect with you?
ErinDuvallOfficial.com. We're on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all the places, right? And Auntie E is actually on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram as well. And then, so if you want to see what's going on in the world of Auntie E right now, obviously go sign up for the updates. Subscribe now, but really go check out the Instagram and the TikTok because that's kind of going to give you more of a taste of who the characters are and what the music is starting to sound like and the world and all the fun animals that are in the world of Harmony Hills. So go check that out. And then twicethelovefoundation.org is where you can check out everything for the foundation. We're in the middle of an overhaul on that website. So that will be releasing very, very soon. But there's already a site there, so you can go get some information. But there's a new, bigger, beefier site heading out for Twice the Love very soon. And
That's
yeah,
perfect.
I'm on all the
Perfect.
platforms, girl.
All right. I see you are. You even on TikTok. Look, I'm doing my little X fingers to TikTok. I'm not on TikTok.
Ah,
That's where
TikTok, I tell you.
that's where I draw the line.
It's a whole nother world over there in that TikTok world. And I will be honest, I'm not well versed in it. But we play over there sometimes. It's fun.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And it's fun
mm-hmm.
too because it's a definitely a different demographic, and
Right,
so
right,
we get different viewership,
right.
especially for Auntie E. We get different viewership over at TikTok than we do at
And
Instagram.
that's the
And
thing. It's knowing my business is marketing, and so that's the thing. It's knowing where your audience is. So yes, for Auntie E, you probably do want to be over in TikTok. Um,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. So
yeah,
for all the things you're doing, you should be on those platforms because of all the things that you're doing. Relates everything you do and relates to a piece of this, piece of that will relate to one of those platforms.
absolutely,
So
yes. And they're
yeah.
ever evolving, right? So that's a full time job in and of itself.
It is. It is social media. I did a whole article on that because I mean, it's like, oh my goodness. But anyway.
I know it's crazy. I mean, it's great. I think it's awesome in a way that we can all connect with each other creatively and interpersonally and all the things. But it's definitely it's ever evolving,
It is. It
and
is.
it's fun to be a part of it, though.
Erin, this has been so exciting to talk with you. You're amazing.
You're so kind. Thank you so much for having me and for having me on the magazine. And it's been a true honor of my life. I really appreciate it.
We appreciate it too. So this is a close of the interview. I just want to thank everyone for listening. Please go like, share, and comment. And remember, you are never alone. Your voice, use it to uplift others. I'm Ilene Carol, and this is Unseen to Unstoppable.